everybody, welcome to the socaldramtram. Thinking, man, this your boy C.
And I'm Matt, and today we got another bottle for you. But before we get into this bottle, we just want to say, hey, if you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your way out. If you're a returning viewer, hey, we appreciate you sticking around. But everybody smash that like button and hit the bell for notifications. That way you know whenever we drop a new video. Why don't you tell me about this bottle today, Cesar, because I think it's from your bar.
Today, guys, we got that Woodinville Straight Bourbon. Not circular, but straight.
Hit it.
So, folks, Woodinville. I'll have you know this won the 2020 San Francisco World in Spirits Best in Class for this year. Best in class. To me, folks, I don't know about you guys, but to me that says a lot.
I was never the best in class.
With how much bourbon there is out there nowadays, to name a single one the best in class, it's like best in 10 million. It's like how do you even compare that, right? So that from the get-go had me excited. So I had to do some research on this, right? So the Woodinville, or the Omlin family farm out of, Quincy, Washington, I believe it is, exclusively grows their grains for the Woodinville distillery. So that I assume that has to take some part into why it's good, because it's part of the growing process, or how you make whiskey. Also, prior to being coppered, the wood from the cask is actually seasoned for 18 months, releasing the wood's harsh tannins, right? Also, it is heavily charred and slowly roasted, so that way, you know, the flavors really get into the mix.
Sounds like when I'm barbecuing.
That's pretty much how they made this, folks. But it's mashed, distilled, and everything at the Woodinville distillery, right, at home base. However, it is actually, after it's done, those barrels, those casks are moved to the cask. They're moved to the Cascade Mountains in a private warehouse owned by Woodinville, far away from their actual distillery, just so it extracts and contracts the extreme weather from the mountains in central Washington, I believe it is. So it's not aged in their distillery. They make it and then they move it up the mountains, so that way the extreme temperatures soak up the wood with the alcohol, and then release it again, and soak it up and release it again with how extreme they get. And that's actually pretty cool, because I'm not sure about too many other people that actually do that, but
yeah, I think Balcones, if I'm not mistaken, out of Texas, I think they sent a couple barrels kind of like to the four corners of the earth to kind of see, I mean, even though the earth is round, to kind of see what different climates do to different barrels and stuff. I think it's Balcones. Somebody
cool.
May correct me in the comments, but I'm pretty sure it's Balcones.
That's awesome. Like, I'm glad this distillery knows like what the weather is, and they're like, this is what happens with the wood and the weather, so let's do it there. And that's cool. Because Balcones, the four corners of the world, that they tend to have different weathers, so that's definitely going to change the whiskey.
Whiskey aged here in the States is going to taste very different from whiskey aged in Scotland.
Exactly.
Right? You can put whiskey in a barrel in Scotland and let it go for the long haul, because the climate's there, surprise, surprise, it's cold as hell. Versus here, it's hot as hell. Yeah. But nonetheless, guys, that's pretty cool. You know what's interesting to me, if they decided to take it up to the mountains, like if that was like a foregone conclusion when they first started aging whiskey, or if they tried it and they're like, Oh, our whiskey tastes better when it's from there.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to me.
It is very interesting because it's like, I mean, how would you think to like make a warehouse in the mountains and be like, you know what, that's where I'm gonna store it from now on.
I mean, I'm sure real estate's cheap. Who knows?
True.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that was an awesome lesson for sure in Woodinville. I like that they distill it as well, right? It's not just MGP product, at least from everything that I've read on the bottle and everything that Cesar said. I like that it's, grain to glass whiskey. That's always kind of cool because there's a lot of MGP product out there. And it's not saying that, MGP is bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's just saying that there's a lot out there on the shelves. I mean, we've got, a review of some MGP product coming up that we both really like. Spoilers. And again, it just goes to show that you can do different things with that. But I like that this isn't MGP product or any other source product. I like that it's grain to glass is all I'm trying to say. But nonetheless, before I get into the whiskey, and I have nosed it a little bit, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my coin. I'm going to be throwing up Trenny in the Sea. That's right. I'm throwing up their Batch 3 coin. You probably can't see it on the side or the spine of this, but it says Survivor Edition 2020. And I think that is just the most appropriate thing for this year because wow. Yeah. This year has been a ride, hasn't it? But nonetheless, I just want to say thank you, Trenny in the Sea, for sending this out to me. I super appreciate it. It's really much appreciated to go up on the shelf. Who are you using today, Cesar?
So for my coaster coin, I'm using my old bourbon coin. And for my topper coin, I'm using my Bourbon Sane coin because I've had this bourbon before and it is definitely insane.
I see what you did there. It's funny, I was going to use my Bourbon Insane coin today. I changed my mind. Oh, man. By the way, if you hear my dog barking in the background, that's okay. One day we'll go ahead and throw up. Let's have a picture of him right here. Right here. You can see it right there. That's right. I'm holding Cesar accountable to putting a picture of my dog in there. His name's Cosmo Light Kramer, so he likes to bust in the door and make noise. Okay, back to the whiskey.
So on the nose, to be honest, it smells like an average bourbon. You just get those average sweets and...
I'll tell you, it's got average notes. It's got the hints of cherry. It's got the hints of oak, hints of vanilla. But there's other stuff to this. I get like caramelized sugar, and I get a little bit of citrus. I was kind of telling you a little bit ago off camera, right? Where like I'm getting a lot of citrus lately in my bourbons. Ever since we did that wild turkey video, which it's right here, you can check it out. Ever since we did that, I'm starting to get a lot more citrus in my bourbon. It's very weird, but it kind of goes back to what we were saying, right? Like being on a journey. Like we're pushing almost a year of doing this, and we're starting to kind of develop different palates and things like that. And it's super interesting and fun to go about it. But like I'm getting a heavy citrus fruit note here, but also a little bit of chocolate. Not much, but that toasted sugar and citrus note is really predominant for me. You're obviously tasting it right now. Tell me about it. What do you got going on?
Oh, my God. Folks, so after tax and everything, this bottle is probably like $40. And let me tell you, I know why it won Best in Class. If you folks have ever had creme brulee, this... to the T tastes like creme brulee.
Yeah.
To the T. I've never had a creme brulee so specific, Starbucks creme brulee so specific.
I love that you're referencing Starbucks as your reference point for Starbucks.
To be honest, because that was like one of the best creme brulees I've had, and I was like, oh wow. So I didn't know it was this good or this sweet. And this, instantly, Starbucks creme brulee is what pops up in my head. It to the T creme brulee. I've had sweet bourbons. I've had good bourbons. Elijah Craig, I've had that Reese's Pieces peanut butter cup bourbon. This creme brulee is the closest to accuracy on the specific thing I'm naming, like creme brulee, that I've ever got. So I know I've got the Reese's Pieces, and that was close to Reese's Pieces, but since it's high in alcohol, it's like, it still kind of burns a little bit, but you get the Reese's Pieces. This is all through and through creme brulee. All through. You don't even need to have that much of a developed palate to get the creme brulee out of this. And because it's so, easy drinking, and at that price point, I see you, SF, World Spirits, and Wine Comp. I see you. I see why you named this Best in Class. It definitely has some class that it is the best in.
Okay, so I agree with you, right? The toasted sugar element to it from creme brulee is there. The vanilla custard is there. It's got a very creamy mouthfeel. It's not super harsh or anything like that. This is a very good like starting bourbon. Like you said, it's $40. $40. So it's 45% alcohol, 90 proof. This is damn good. Like, this is just a really good middle of the road bourbon that is, so when we had this off camera, I was thinking like black tea. Like there's a certain bitter quality to it as well, but not for the worse. Like it's actually kind of helping it. It kind of levels out those super sweet notes. Because if you didn't have that, I would worry that this would be borderline too sweet. Like to where it would be like, it's good. But like, remember when we did the Wyoming dinner at McAllen's and we had the Statesman and it was with the ice cream. And before we even had the ice cream with the whiskey, we had the whiskey and we're like, this is all sweet, right?
Yeah. And
I
then
think
you
if
poured
it
it
didn't
on the
have
ice
that
cream.
bitter quality, it would really be too sweet.
Yeah.
But what I really like about it is it's not out to hurt me, but it has enough complexity to where even though it's middle of the road, like people who are just getting into whiskey as a category could really kind of pick out certain flavors because it's got a lot of familiarity to it. I think I said that right. I don't know. Anemone. I think this is something where I could give to, a buddy of mine at work who's like, yeah, I kind of want to try some whiskey, but I have no idea where to start. I'd be like, hey, man, you want some good whiskey, try this out, and it's not going to break the bank. $40 is pricey, but it's not so much out there that you're going to be breaking the bank for sure. So neat. This is really good. Now, I did just drop some water on it. I dropped 3 drops of water because it is only 45%, so I didn't want to, over-water it. Interestingly enough, though, the finish is still going. On this 45%er, that toasted sugar,
and
like
it's a
the
nice
bitter quality,
finish too.
yeah, it's really nice. Like the bitter quality, I lose it on the finish, and it just becomes like that remnants of creme brulee, right? So if you've ever had creme brulee or you've ever made creme brulee, number one, it's a pain in the ass to make, but number two, you get that vanilla custard mouthfeel that kind of stays with you. And this is definitely resembling that. I can see why this would have won best in class because I'm not going to say it's smooth because I know it's a buzzword for whiskey snobs. And if you are that, that's fine. Like it's okay if you use the word smooth. I don't get the hate for it. I understand it. But I will say that it's easy drinking. It's easy sipping. I wonder how like an ice cube would hold up in this, but I really like it.
I'm pretty sure. So like I've said before, like I usually like to guess the chemical X factor, right? Like what makes this distinctly stand out? I think the chemical X factor has 2 factors. Not only is it the 18 months of seasoning the wood, so that way it's not so tannin. That I've never seen anyone else or read of anyone else doing that, and that makes sense because I've also had heavily charred wood, and it be way stronger than and it'd be way stronger than this though. Like it has that char flavor where it's like this has been charred, but since this is heavily charred, I still don't taste the burntness from it where I taste in others, but from this guy being, seasoned for 18 months or whatever, I think it kind of settles the char and makes it level it out perfectly to where you get that creme brulee, where when they char or when they season it, you get nothing but like the sweet flavor over the actual burntness. And that's what blows my mind.
Familiar with that toasted wood, eh? Sorry, everything he said after that, it doesn't matter in my head. I just went somewhere else. My mind pretty much lives in the gutter 24/7. So with the water, the sweet factor comes forward for sure. I get more of the sugars, the caramel, the vanilla. I lose that little bit of bitter quality. When we were talking off camera, I was wondering how the water is going to hold up to this. On the palate, though, it just kind of rounds everything out. It doesn't lose anything. It doesn't, enhance any one thing. It just kind of makes everything a little bit more well-rounded. It's kind of like when you're cooking and like you're like, oh, you know what? This needs just a little bit of this, right? And you just dump a little bit of that and it just ties it all together, right? So I can't believe I'm saying this, but like 45% 33% on this might have been ideal for me, but 45% is still really nice because I can drop some water in it and be okay. I actually kind of prefer this one with a little bit of water.
I was going to say, dude, the reason I'm doing what I'm doing right now is because I drink it so fast. I totally forgot to mention what it tastes like. So I'm like just putting 1 or 2 drops of water in a little bit of sip just so that way. That went by really fast. I was like, wow, this is really good. I kept drinking.
I had mentioned off camera, like kind of in my head, what this might be for my score, but it would depend on how the water would hold up to it. I gotta say though, like $40, 45%. It's got some award pedigree. It's got some good flavors. It holds up to the water.
Oh yeah.
If I'm judging this based on value to bottle and price point, it's a 5.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe it. Now, I will say, we have a cast strength version of this that we're going to get to eventually. We're not going to compare it now, but we have a cast strength version. We're going to get to it. I'm excited about that bottle now.
And I'm excited what water's going to do to that, too.
Yeah, because I'll say the water held up nicely in this. And I don't know, granted, I wasn't watching the show. I don't know why it won Best in Class or what they did to it or whatever. But if they dropped water in it, yeah, I can see why it would win. This is really good. And the fact that it's grain to glass, the fact that it's 45%, the fact that it holds it to the water, it's a 5 for me. Like, knock me if you want, but it's a 5 for me. Go get yourself a bottle. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Where are you at?
So, guys, this Woodinville gave me a really deep thrill. I can't wait when it's gone to refill and repay that bill, and I'm just keeping it real with you guys because this is a 5 for me for sure. It's a 5 because I mean at 45%, when you add water, 99.999999% of the time, it's pepper. It's pepper. It's pepper. You just get pepper because it's so low in alcohol. You just bring out a bunch of pepper notes. Exactly. That's exactly why it plays into play with my review because it's like it's only 45% alcohol, which isn't much. But you throw water on there, and it's like wow, no pepper finish, and it makes it even sweeter. And it's as if it wasn't sweet enough already, like. And it's a good sweet, not that like overly sugared donut sweet. Like oh wow, I guess this a little bit better, and where you didn't think it would, go.
It's almost like a vanilla cream soda with the water.
Yeah,
like it's really nice.
It's really good.
Absolutely,
best in class. I see where it's at. I could see where they did that for sure.
I mean, I can't disagree with them, especially at the price point.
I had to pour it twice just to because I forgot to mention what it's like with water. I was like, oh, that was so good. I needed. Wait, what was it like?
And just so proof is in the pudding, Cesar has not hit this like he does normally on a single bottle. You guys know what I'm talking about. If you guys have been following us for any more than 3 videos, you know Cesar's bottles usually come to the bar with a lot less whiskey in the bottle. But nonetheless, guys, it's a 5 from me. It's a 5 from Cesar. It's 5s all around. Yep. But hey, do us a favor. Hit us up in the comments. Have you had Woodinville? Do you like it? Do you think we're crazy? That's all right, because guess what? Our opinions are subjective. So if you don't like it, that's okay. But nonetheless, guys, let us know your thoughts. Do us a favor. Hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at socaldramtram. We appreciate you following us there because we're going to interact with you all the time. But that's really all I got to say today. Don't forget to hit the like on the way out of here. Cesar, you got anything else you want to add?
No, I do not.
Stay safe and drink well. We'll catch you next time.
All aboard, I guess.
Hey, everybody. Hope you liked that video.
Don't forget to hit that bell for notifications.
And don't forget to subscribe.
That's good stuff, dude.
That's good.
That's some good.
Part of me was like, oh, we should side by side. And I'm like, no.